At the commercial break, they sat down and calculated and came back after the break, and the average was 17. They'd been in 17 businesses on average, some more, some less, before they found the right one. So the question I always ask is, did they fail 16 times and then only succeed on the 17th? And everybody suddenly realizes, well, no, they didn't fail, they learned, which made the 17th possible. People have to have that attitude, and the people around you have to have that attitude, because it's only about 1% of people have the ability to really take risks, entrepreneurial risks. 99% of the population can work for a business once it's established. Only 1% have the courage and the ability to actually make the entrepreneurial breakthroughs that create those jobs. In my experience, if you're going to live a busy life, you're going to have constant failures, setbacks, disappointments, temporary defeats. They go with the territory. If you're not falling on your face a couple of times a day, it just means you're not trying hard enough. You're playing it too safe. So one of the things I learned as a young man, which had a profound effect on my life, was that the way to deal with a problem is to deal with it well before the problem happens by deciding how you're going to respond to it. And I say sometimes you can't take a first aid course at the scene of an accident. It's too late. You take the first aid course before the accident. And one of the things I've learned from Charlie and Jim and other people is the importance of making the decision in your own mind that you're never going to quit. I'm never going to quit. I have been asked what is the most important quality a person can develop, and I'm sure there's many answers to it. But one of the best answers is the quality of being unstoppable. Just say to yourself, I'm never going to quit. I'm going to have ups and downs and setbacks and disappointments, and as Charlie says, I'm going to think about quitting and talk about quitting and feel about quitting, but I'm not going to quit. And if you make that decision in advance, you've now closed that mental door. So then when you have a problem, you say, all right, what's the solution? Instead of doing what average mediocre people do, is they seek who's to blame, and they lash out at the world, and they feel sorry for themselves, just instead focus on the solution. What's the solution?
Well, you know, I've read the books, you know, I've listened to the tapes, I've been to all the events, and, you know, it's like I've listened to so many tapes that sometimes I get sick and tired of hearing this particular tape because I've heard it so many times, and it just seems like nothing's happening for me. Sometimes I just feel like crying, I feel stagnant.
These people who complain about life not changing are really not doing anything, because it's impossible. It's like eating really healthy food and saying, I don't feel any different. And I've eaten all this healthy food and I don't feel any different. Here's an interesting point. It was pointed out to me by one of my friends in Germany. He said, learning goes by plateaus. He said, first of all, we take this, we have a big jump up, then we come back down, and then we plateau. And then we have a big jump up and we come back down, and then we plateau. But each plateau is higher than the previous plateau. It's on the plateaus that people lose heart and quit. But the plateau is a normal part of learning. Is you have the high, the inspiration, the goals, and you set them down and so on, and then you plateau. And on the plateau, you don't see any change for a while. So you have to have confidence that you are moving toward that next explosion that will come up again, and then you will come down again and plateau again. You just have to have faith that this is taking place. Like seeds are germinating under the soil. At a certain point, they will burst into bloom.
Learn to write. I'm dead serious. Like, I'm dead serious about that. Because writing is formalized thinking. And so the way you write is, first of all, you need a problem. Because why write if you don't have a problem? So this is good advice if you're just writing an essay, by the way, for your classes. It's like, pick a bloody problem that you want to write about, because otherwise it's false right from the start. It's up to you to engage with the material until you find something that grips you, that you desire to investigate. Okay, so you need a problem. Well, the next thing you need to do is, well, you need to have something to say about the problem. Well, so, reading. Reading is really good for that. Read as much as you can. Get your hands on that addresses the problem. Okay, so now you know a bunch of things, or at least provisionally know them. You at least have access to them. Well, now you start sorting through it. It's like, okay, well, maybe I need to summarize what I've learned, and then I need to iron out the contradictions between what I've learned, and I need to elegantly formulate that, and I need to get my word choice right, and my phrase choice right, and my sentence choice right, and I need to organize the sentences into proper paragraphs, and the paragraphs into proper sequence so that I have a coherent argument. And at the same time, what you're doing is is you're integrating your own personality at the highest and most abstract level of organization. And you're sharpening your tools, and you're putting yourself straight because you're learning to think. You learn to do that by writing. And so I would say, pick some hard problems and learn to write very, very carefully. And when I say pay attention to the word, I mean that. Pick the right words. Organize them into the right phrases. Get your sentences straight. Like when I wrote my first book, Maps of Meaning, I believe I wrote every sentence in that book 50 times. 50 variants of every sentence. I'd read it once, I'd read it again, I'd read it again, I'd read it again, and I'd have a little competition. Which sentence is better? Which sentence is better? I'd pick that sentence. Do the same with the paragraphs. Over many, many years, you hone your words. They're the most powerful thing about you, bar none. If you are an effective writer and speaker and communicator, you have all the authority and competence that there is. And so you're at university. Maybe you're taking a humanities degree. Well, what's the humanities degree for? It's to teach you how to think. You learn to think by writing. Now, there's more to read, to speak, and all of that. But the best thing you can do is read and write every day.